Welcome back to Cure for the Common Game. Today we're going to talk about Nikya of the Old Ways. This is kind of reminiscent of the old Rurikthar. You can't cast non-creature spells. Whenever you tap a land for mana, it produces one additional. So one land gets you 2 mana. So that's pretty sweet. It really, really helps the playing the fatties. Now, Nikya has not gotten a lot of love. I think this card is under $1 even, and it's a current rare. I don't know. I may need to pick up a foil because the foil can't be that expensive, right? At least until we get a hold of it. Anyway, so what I tried to do here, this is not as hardcore as the Rurikthar deck is. However, well, let's just get into it. First off, let's look at some ramp. Now, we are obviously heavy on creatures. I did the list on Tapped Out. I want to say there's 57 creatures in the deck. It's a bunch. I think it's all but 5 cards. So here we go. We have Druid of the Cow, Llanowar Elves. I'm going to blow through these because a lot of these are just so common. We all know them. The Mystic, Wood Elves, Tribe Elder, Farhaven Mystic, the Explorer, Ranger, the Queer and Elves, the Dual Elf, so that's cool. Star Fletcher, Zerta Druid, and we just be tapping Zerta Druid even when we don't need to cast anything. Just because. The Incubation Druid is nice. I really love this card. Really, really do. Grand Warlord Radha, reward you for attacking with creatures, which is what we're going to be doing. The Zerta Ancient, which is kind of another copy of the double mana there, the additional land. And then we've got Savage Ventmaw. Now, y'all know what card's next, don't you? Yeah, you do. Savage Ventmaw is pretty good. 6 mana, 4/4. When you attack, when it attacks, you get the 6 mana. And Hellkite Charger says 7 mana, additional attack step. So if you get both of those out, you got a bunch of attack steps. It's not, one doesn't provide the exact mana, so you need 1 mana to go with it, so it's not infinite. But as long as you got mana to dump in it, and our commander does make double mana. So yeah, it's a bunch. Let's look at some card draw. We have, of course, Beast Whisperer. It's one of the new cards. It is remarkably good, especially in this deck with 57 creatures. So that's, 56 card draw spells. Because, obviously not for this one when you cast it. But Garrick's Packleader. Most of our creatures are going to be power 3. I mean, the early mana ramp guys won't be. Garrick's Horde. This is not card draw, but it kind of is. Soul of the Harvest and Heartwood Storyteller. Now, I've been using Heartwood Storyteller a little bit recently. I like it. I played it the other night, and it speeds up a game. It really does. It's not just me. It speeds up a game. There are times, especially I play with a lot of players in a deck or in a game, and it really speeds it up. Let's see what else we've got here. Now, here's the thing about Nikya. She says, well, no, Nikya, my understanding, she's female. She says you can't play creature spells. Or you can't play non-creature spells. My bad. Now, but that double mana is pretty sweet. We want to do double mana stuff. So the Stampeding Cerro and the Stampeding Wildebeest, there are a lot of our removal cards in here comes into play effects. So we get multiple uses even out of Wood Elves or Ingot Chewer, things like that. to keep casting those over and over again to get that comes into play trigger. But now, let's look at Horn Kavu. Horn Kavu serves a very unique purpose in here, and that is to tap out, float a ton of mana with Nikya, play the Kavu, bounce Nikya back to my hand, and then Comet Storm the field. Or maybe we tap out, play Sparkcaster, bounce Nikya back to my hand, and then we Electrodominance. Right? And, I mean, we're going to Electrodominate for a bunch, so I guess I'll do the rest of the non... I also have Shivan Worms, pretty much the same thing. It's 5 mana, 7/7 trample. And I get to bounce my commander and play, whatever. Impromptu Raid, non-creature, obviously. I'm curious about this card. Yeah, Shadowmoor, never played it. So, with a ton of mana that we're probably going to have, we'll probably be able to pull off one heck of an alpha swing. Growing Rites seems like a natural fit for the deck with as many creatures, and our last non-creature spell is Rhythm of the Wild, because this is, I mean, I realize it's not hard to outclass Fervor, but this sure enough does. Riot. There's so many things that trigger off of the 1/1 that just, like that elf that, taps for a mana, or taps for 3 if you've got a counter on it. So let's get back to the creatures, shall we? We've got Brawn to give them all trample, and Anger to give them all haste. Prowling Serpopard to upset that blue guy. Did I mention upsetting the blue guy? Hey, Brooding Saurian. Look, I just want what's mine. I don't want nobody steal my junk. So that's what he's doing there. Pooferal seems like a good fit. We're going to be making, casting a bunch of creatures. Now, it ain't a heavy token deck, and we're not going to, flood out the board and combo win with Pooferals, but it's just good value. Or are we? There's a small dinosaur theme here. This is one of the unique champions, kind of like Imperious Perfect, that's a champion and makes her own team. So, for 6 mana, she spits out effectively 4/4 dinosaurs. And we do have a few other dinosaurs. We've got the Regisaur Alpha. Also going to bring a token. We've got the Burning Sun. And we've got Galta. And we probably have everybody's favorite dinosaur, especially with double mana. It's our minor mutant ninja turtle, as we like to say. But it's also a coward and a warrior. So I don't know what to do with that. Let's see. Skylasher, of course. Love the fact that it has flash. That's we don't have a whole lot of flying hate here. Probably should have done that. I have the Ulvenwald Tracker. There's a good chance we're going to have the biggest creature out there. Of course, we've got Flame Blast, which is really good also with double mana for just removal. I guess that's what we'll cover next. Of course, we've got the Ingot Chewer that eats up an artifact. We've got the Acidic Slime, which eats up whatever ails you, pretty much, as long as it ain't a walker. Rex Sage. Sunder Shaman. Hello, Sunder Shaman. Sunder Shaman's so balling he fuzzes up. So he can't be blocked by more than one creature. So they got a 1 one-on-one him, and then he deals combat damage to a player you destroy, artifact, or enchantment you naturalize on combat damage. So I love this is a prime example of we're building cards for best of one, and I love it because we play the original best of one format. It's a 4-mana 5/5 giant that they can't gang block. I mean, I like it, and it's reliable removal ish. Steel Hellkite. Here's a flyer. There's a flyer if I've ever seen one, especially with, mana. I can't tell you how many times. See, of course, I'm the dirtbag that plays March of the Machines and Hellkite. And just starts popping all the creatures. Not March of the Machines, Miles of the Lattice. To pop all the creatures that are non, I'm not doing it obviously in this deck, but a Steel Hellkite. If I'm playing with the Lattice, I'm looking for a Hellkite. I really am to go in whatever deck it is. We have the Loyal Guardian. Now, I like the Loyal Guardian. We're obviously want to have our commander in play anyway. That's kind of how the deck works. And, 1/1 counter your team. We are playing good old-fashioned Rurik Thar because it's going to deal way more damage to everybody else than it will to us. Now, the problem with Rurik Thar is the same problem that we have with the Rurik Thar deck, is he dies a lot. Typically, Rurik Thar deals 6 damage to the person that murders him. That's it. I mean, we have a Fierce Empath to go and find a big guy. We have a Soul of Zendikar, because, it's a decent mana dump to make some 3/3 beast, which may trigger the pack leader. The Monstrosity. At random, but, it dies and you get 2 random things back. Now, I like this particular Guild Mage because it cheaply gives your team trample for 2 mana. I like it a lot. Now, have a whole bunch of dice with you. I recommend 3 10-siders because that's generally what it takes me. Because it's another creature enters the battlefield. That's everybody in the entire game. And a lot of times, people don't really care until they look over and he's got 20-something counters on him. And you're like, sorry, bro. Because there's a lot of times where you will just cast him, and if you untap with him, he'll have so many counters on him, he's a one-shot kill. We have everybody's favorite Swag Tusk. I mean, this is what put Thragtusk in the deck for me was the Stampeding Wildebeest and Cero, because, man, recasting this every turn, yeah, the Angel was cool. Wildebeest, I like it a little better. Rumblebelt Raider. For each attacking creature. Okay. This is probably going to be a bunch. Naya Soul Beast. Now, this Joker, as what does Dana Roach say? Is has a very low floor and a very high ceiling. The variation, the randomness on this card is absolutely, and that's what I love about it, is because I'm spending 8 mana. More than likely, I'm just tapping 4 lands. And it's not so bad when you put it like that, is it? For a Trampler that could totally end up being, I mean, it's within the realm of possibilities that you put it straight to the graveyard. If everybody pops up a land, it's just a 0/0. That's that is a thing that can happen. However, y'all know that part of us that likes to dream big. And if everybody, what is the average converted mana cost in any given deck? Was it 4, 3, 4, 5, somewhere about there? Even if it's 3, what would it take? What would it take to make this worth it for 8 mana or 4 lands? Let's see. It's hard for me to use a standard deck, a standard EDH deck or standard game. But let's do that. 4 players, so you've got each player, so including you. So 4 players are flipping over, even if they all flip over 3s. 3, 6, 9, 12. 8 mana, 12, 12. Trample. There's 4 players. Odds are somebody's gonna flip up a land. So 9, 9 probably. I like it. I love the fact that it's just so random. It could be huge. And you know what? If it's not, if it sucks, on your next upkeep, the wildebeest just puts it back in your hand and you do it again. Till you get what you like. Now, Ancient Ooze. Whoa. Total converted mana cost of each other creature you control? That's sweet. That's a big monster. It's a big ooze. And our last creature is, of course, Artisan of Kozilek, because whenever you cast him... Now, granted, he's colorless, so we can't keep bouncing him with our bounce cards, because they want, colored cards. But Annihilator 2 was too sweet to ignore. Let's look through the land base. We're going to roll through some duels real quick. Rugged, the Timber Gorge, the Guild Gate, the Turf, Mountain Valley, Refuge, Evolving Wilds. I do have a couple of these cycle lands, the 2 deserts. I'm running the Mosswort Bridge because having total power 10 in this deck doesn't seem that hard to do. Blighed Woodland, of course, land's going to go fetch more lands. I'm slightly skewed toward more green than I should be, because we got to have the green to get the red, just about, with, to get the speed up, we got to have the green. Of course, we got the Rage Pits. It just gives 1 creature trample, but you know what? It'll work. We got Rogue's Passage, and lastly, we have, of course, Thran Quarry. Now, Thran Quarry has only ever seen 2 printings, the Urza Saga, and I think it was a Judge foil. But in this deck, it's, picture perfect for it. Just taps for mana of any color, you got to have creatures. Okay. Now that I think about it, what was that other land? Let me run get the land binder. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It's a land that you can only... There it is. Okay, I got to go back and change the deck list over on Tapped Out, because we're putting this joker in. Add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana on to cast creatures. So we're going to replace a mountain with that. I like it. Ancient Ziggurat. Yeah. It works. It's exactly what we want it to be. Well, last minute changes. That's what gets Wizards in trouble, isn't it? Anyway, I do appreciate y'all watching. Y'all let me know what you think. Thank y'all so much. I've gotten a couple new Patreons. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. I really appreciate it. It gets us that much closer to getting that mic and getting on some podcasts out there. Just in case you randomly want to hear more random musings from Canada. But I appreciate you watching. But I think right now, we're going to shuffle and cut.